The Ardennes Forest, December 1944. Dawn struggles to break through a sky the color of bruised iron, casting a feeble gray light over a landscape of pure, frozen hell. Snow falls in relentless, heavy flakes, blanketing the towering pines and the shattered, twisted wrecks of American jeeps and half-tracks that litter the narrow, muddy roads. This is the Bulge. This is Hitler's last desperate gamble, and for the men of the 28th Infantry Division, it is a waking nightmare. The air is torn by the shriek of incoming artillery, the staccato rip of German MG-42s, a sound they've grimly nicknamed Hitler's buzzsaw, and the desperate returning fire of M1 Garands. Amid this chaos, in a shallow, waterlogged foxhole that smells of damp earth, cold sweat, and fear, is Private Samuel "Sam" Thorne. He is 18 years old. Just 3 months ago, he was milking cows on his family's farm in Iowa, his world defined by the sunrise over cornfields and the gentle lowing of cattle. Now, his world is defined by the concussive thud of shelling and the piercing whine of shrapnel. His hands, more accustomed to the rough grain of a hay bale than the cold steel of an M1 rifle, are numb and shaking. He clutches a small, water-stained photograph of his family, their smiling faces a stark, painful contrast to the grim reality surrounding him. How did a farm boy from the heartland end up here, in this frozen forest, fighting for his life against the most fearsome war machine the world has ever seen? The German onslaught was a tidal wave of steel and fire, crashing upon them with a fury they could never have anticipated. Their lines are shattered, communication is a joke, and they are surrounded, cut off, and running low on everything: ammunition, medical supplies, and most dangerously, hope. The order comes down the shattered line, a hoarse whisper passed from one desperate man to the next: fall back. Regroup at the rally point. It's not a retreat, it's a desperate attempt to avoid annihilation. Sam and what's left of his squad, a grizzled sergeant from Brooklyn named O'Malley, and a young, bookish radio man from Boston named Jenkins, begin a frantic, stumbling movement through the dense, snow-laden woods. Every shadow seems to hold a German soldier. Every crunch of snow underfoot sounds like a thunderclap. They move with a single shared prayer: to find a friendly unit, to find a warm meal, to simply survive the next 10 minutes. But the forest has other plans. The ground begins to tremble. It's a low, deep vibration that starts in the soles of their boots and travels up into their very bones. It's a feeling they've come to dread, a sensation that spells certain death for any infantryman caught in the open. The distant, grinding roar of a heavy engine grows closer, accompanied by the sickening crunch of ancient pines being snapped like twigs under immense weight. O'Malley freezes, his face a mask of grim terror. He doesn't need to say it. They all know. A Tiger tank. 56 tons of German engineering, its 88mm main gun capable of turning their entire position into a smoldering crater. They hit the frozen ground, pressing themselves into the mud and snow, their hearts hammering against their ribs like trapped birds. Through a gap in the trees, they see it, a monstrous slab-sided beast, its iconic interleaved road wheels churning the deep snow into a brown slurry. Its long, lethal gun sweeps slowly back and forth, a predator hunting for prey. This is no ordinary panzer. This is a king of the battlefield, an apex predator whose very presence means the end of the line. They are trapped, 3 men with rifles against a steel behemoth that could end them with a single contemptuous shot. The Tiger's engine rumbles, a deep-throated growl that seems to shake the very air. And then, with a sudden, horrifying lurch, it turns its massive hull, its tracks tearing great furrows in the earth, and begins to move directly toward their hiding spot. The ground shakes, the sound is deafening, and the shadow of the colossal war machine falls over them, close enough now that Sam can smell the acrid mix of diesel fumes and hot metal. This is it. There is nowhere to run, there is nowhere to hide. The tiger has found them, and in mere seconds it will grind their fragile bodies into the frozen mud of the Ardennes. Time seems to warp, stretching each second into an eternity of pure, undiluted terror. The tiger looms over them, so close Sam can see the intricate weld lines on its thick frontal armor and the chipped, dark yellow paint of its camouflage scheme. The roar of its Maybach engine is all-consuming, a physical force that presses down on their chests. Jenkins, the radio man, lets out a strangled whimper, his eyes wide with a primal fear. Sergeant O'Malley, his jaw clenched so tight it looks like it might shatter, slowly, ever slowly, brings his Thompson submachine gun to his shoulder. It's a futile gesture, a pebble against a mountain, but it's the only gesture he has left. Sam's mind, however, is not on his rifle. His farmer's eyes, trained to assess machinery and animal behavior, are scanning the behemoth. He sees the commander, a black uniformed figure, standing tall in the cupola, his face obscured by a leather helmet and goggles, arrogantly surveying the forest he now owns. Sam's gaze drops lower, to the driver's forward visor, a slitted window of thick glass. He sees the driver's shadowy form inside. And then he sees it, a small, almost imperceptible detail. A maintenance hatch on the rear of the hull, just above the massive exhaust grills, is slightly ajar, swinging loosely with the tank's movement. It must have been damaged or forgotten in the heat of the advance. A crazy, impossible, suicidal idea flashes in his mind, born not of courage, but of sheer, desperate survival instinct. He grabs O'Malley's arm, his voice a raw, urgent whisper, barely audible over the engine's din. "The back hatch! It's open!" O'Malley's eyes dart from Sam's frantic face to the tank and back again, disbelief warring with the dawning horror of what the boy is suggesting. "Are you out of your goddamn mind, Thorne? That's a suicide run." But the decision is made for them. The Tiger grinds to a halt, its engine idling with a powerful rumbling purr. The commander barks an order in guttural German, and the coaxial machine gun next to the main cannon spits to life, stitching a line of angry red tracers into the trees just 20 yards to their left, chewing apart the trunk of a pine tree which groans and crashes to the ground. They've been spotted, or at least the Germans are probing, hosing down the area with suppressing fire. In seconds, that deadly hose of lead will swing onto their position. This is their only chance. It's now or never. "Covering fire! On my mark!" O'Malley bellows, the sergeant in him taking over. "Jenkins, you too! Make every shot count! Thorne, you crazy son of a gun, go!" Sam doesn't think, he acts. He pushes himself up from the frozen ground, his muscles screaming in protest, and launches into a low, desperate sprint. He's not a soldier anymore. He's a farm boy running across a field during a thunderstorm, zigzagging, using whatever cover he can find, a fallen log, a small depression in the earth. The world narrows to the pounding of his heart, the burning in his lungs, and the 30 yards of open, snow-covered ground between him and the steel monster. O'Malley and Jenkins open up, their rifles cracking, the sound pitifully small against the tank's roar. Their bullets ping and spark harmlessly off the Tiger's thick armor, but it does exactly what O'Malley hoped. It draws the attention of the commander, who ducks down into the cupola and shouts into his intercom. The machine gun fire shifts, searching for the source of the new threat. Sam closes the distance, his boots slipping in the churned-up mud and snow. He can feel the intense heat radiating from the tank's engine compartment, smell the scorching metal and diesel fumes. He reaches the massive vertical rear plate, pressing his body against the surprisingly warm steel, his heart trying to beat its way out of his chest. He's on the beast. Now he has to get inside. He reaches up, his fingers fumbling for the edge of the small rectangular maintenance hatch. It's heavy, but it swings open with a metallic creak that sounds to him as loud as the tank's own gun. He peers into the dark, oily, confined space within. A narrow passage filled with wiring and pipes leads forward into the belly of the beast. He can hear the muffled voices of the crew, the clang of metal, the hiss of hydraulics. He has no idea what he will find in there. He has no plan beyond this point. Taking a final shuddering breath, he pulls himself up and into the tight, claustrophobic opening, the darkness swallowing him whole just as the Tiger's engine revs and the massive vehicle begins to lurch forward once more, carrying him into the unknown.
The world inside the Tiger is a stark, terrifying contrast to the frozen chaos outside. It is hot, stiflingly so, reeking of sweat, engine oil, cordite, and the faint metallic scent of blood. The air is thick and heavy. The only light comes from a few dim red bulbs, casting long, dancing shadows that make the cramped interior feel like the belly of a mechanical dragon. The noise is a constant physical assault. The deafening, bone-jarring roar of the engine just behind him, the shriek of metal tracks on the frozen ground, the clatter and clang of tools and ammunition racks. Sam crouches in the rear fighting compartment, his body wedged between the massive breech block of the main gun and a rack of 88mm shells, each one as long as his leg. He can feel the cold, deadly weight of them against his back. He is an intruder in a steel tomb, a ghost in the machine. Just feet away, separated only by the gun breech and a small walkway, are the 5 men who call this metal beast home. The loader, to his left, is a young man, his face slick with sweat as he braces himself against the lurching of the tank. The gunner is hunched over his eyepiece, his hands on the traversing wheels, his body tense. The commander is back in his cupola, his torso visible from the waist down, shouting orders down to his crew. The driver and radio operator are in the forward compartment, their backs to him. They are all focused, professional, a well-oiled team completely unaware of the parasite that has just invaded their sanctuary. Sam's mind races, his training and his farm boy ingenuity scrambling for a solution. He is armed only with his M1 Garand, too long and unwieldy to use in this confined space, and a standard-issue .45 caliber M1911 pistol tucked in his belt. 5 against 1. In a space where a single stray shot could ignite ammunition or fuel, turning them all into a fireball. He can't just start shooting. He has to be smart. He has to be silent. He has to be a predator. His eyes scan the dim interior, looking for anything he can use. And then he sees it. A heavy, rubber-coated mallet, used for clearing jams or performing emergency repairs on the gun mechanism, is clipped to the hull wall near the loader. It's a tool. He knows tools. As the Tiger crashes through another small tree, the crew is jolted, momentarily distracted. This is his chance. Moving with a slowness that is agony, Sam unslings his M1 and leans it carefully against an ammunition crate. He draws the .45, the cold weight of it familiar in his hand. He then reaches for the mallet, his fingers closing around the solid, reassuring grip. He has to take out the loader and gunner first. They are the most immediate threat. The commander is partially exposed, but the driver and radio operator are a problem for later. He takes a silent, steadying breath. The image of his Iowa farm flashing in his mind. The quiet, the peace, the simplicity. He clings to that image. It is his anchor. He raises the mallet, his muscles coiling.
The loader turns, perhaps sensing a movement in the shadows, his eyes widening in the split second before he can form a shout. Sam swings the mallet in a short, brutal arc. The thud is sickening, lost in the general cacophony, and the man crumples without a sound. But the gunner, sensing the disturbance, starts to turn from his sight, his mouth opening to yell a warning. There's no time for stealth now. Sam brings the .45 up, his aim instinctive. The pistol barks once, a sharp, concussive crack that is deafening inside the steel box. The gunner slumps over his controls. Chaos erupts. The commander, reacting with lightning speed, drops down from his cupola, his own Luger pistol already in his hand. He fires wildly into the gloom. A round sparks off the gun breech inches from Sam's head, the flash blinding him momentarily. Sam dives behind the massive breech, returning fire with the .45. 2 more shots. The commander grunts, stumbling back against the radio operator's station. But the fight is far from over. The driver, panicked and blind to what is happening behind him, slams the Tiger into a hard turn, throwing everyone off balance. Sam smashes against the ammunition rack, stars exploding in his vision. The radio operator, a burly man with a terrified snarl, is now scrambling back from his seat, drawing a knife. He is between Sam and the forward compartment, a wall of flesh and steel. The intercom is crackling with frantic, shouted German from the driver, demanding a status report. The radio operator lunges, the knife gleaming in the red light. Sam has nowhere to go. He is trapped in the belly of the beast, with a blade coming for his throat and a panicked driver at the controls steering the 56-ton tank and its deadly cargo on a collision course with God knows what. Instinct takes over. As the radio operator lunges with the knife, Sam doesn't try to bring his pistol to bear. There's no room. Instead, he meets the charge, grabbing the man's wrist with his free hand. The force of the impact driving them both back against the driver's armored bulkhead. The smell of the German's breath, sausage, and fear is hot in his face. They grapple in the cramped, rocking space, a brutal, silent dance of life and death. The German is stronger, heavier, and driven by the same desperate will to survive. He forces the tip of the blade closer, closer to Sam's eye. Sam's arm trembles with the strain. With a final guttural roar, Sam brings his forehead down hard on the bridge of the man's nose. There is a wet, crunching sound. The man's grip loosens for a split second. It's all Sam needs. He wrenches the knife hand away and shoves the man back, simultaneously bringing his .45 up and firing twice. The shots are deafening. The radio operator slumps to the floor, his body blocking the narrow passage to the driver's compartment. For a moment, there is a relative silence, broken only by the relentless roar of the engine and the frantic, tinny voice of the driver screaming in German over the intercom. He is alone, cut off, and he knows something is terribly wrong. Sam's chest heaves, his ears ringing. He is surrounded by the dead, the coppery smell of blood now mixing with the stench of oil and cordite. He has to secure the driver, now. He steps over the bodies, his boots slipping on the blood-slicked metal floor. He peers into the driver's compartment. The driver is a young man, maybe his own age, frantically working the steering levers, his face a pale mask of terror in the greenish glow of his instrument panel. He glances back, sees Sam, an American soldier, wild-eyed and holding a smoking pistol, and his fear turns to pure panic. He makes a desperate grab for a submachine gun mounted on the wall beside him. "Nein, halt!" Sam shouts, the only German he knows, leveling the .45. The driver freezes, his hands slowly rising. His eyes are wide, pleading. He is just a boy, like Sam. For a terrifying second, they are locked in a standoff, two kids from opposite sides of the world in the heart of a steel monster. But compassion is a luxury Sam cannot afford. He gestures with the pistol for the driver to move. Reluctantly, the young German unstraps himself and crawls out of his seat, past Sam, into the main compartment where he sees the bodies of his comrades and lets out a choked sob. Sam quickly shoves him toward the rear hatch. "Rouse, go, now!" He pushes the terrified driver out of the open hatch, into the snow and the uncertain mercy of the forest. He is alone. He is in control. The reality of it hits him like a physical blow. He is sitting in the driver's seat of a German Tiger I tank. The controls are a mystery. Levers, pedals, gauges with German script. Outside, through the narrow vision slit, he can see the Ardennes forest rolling past. The tank is still moving, lumbering forward at a slow, idle pace. He has to stop it. He has to figure out how this thing works. He scans the controls. 2 large levers. He remembers a briefing, something about German tanks using levers for steering. He tentatively pulls back on the left one. The Tiger groans violently, its left track locking, and the massive vehicle lurches into a sharp, grinding turn to the left, smashing through a thicket of saplings. He slams both levers forward, and the beast grinds to a sudden, jerking halt, throwing him against the steering levers. Silence. Well, not silence, but the relative quiet of the idling engine. He has done it. He has captured a tiger. But the battle is far from over. He is still deep behind enemy lines, in a stolen German tank with no idea how to operate its main gun, and with the entire Wehrmacht looking for him. And then a new sound cuts through the engine's rumble. The distinct, high-pitched whine of another vehicle. He peers through the vision block, his blood running cold. Emerging from the trees less than 100 yards away is another German tank, a smaller, more agile Panzer IV, its gun traversing, searching for a target. It has seen the stationary Tiger. It's approaching. A voice, amplified by a loudspeaker, crackles in German from the Panzer IV. They are hailing him. They are asking for a status report. He is trapped inside his own prize, and the hunters have just become the hunted. Adrenaline floods Sam's system, a cold, sharp tide that washes away the fatigue and the horror of what he has just done. His mind, once a confused jumble of fear and instinct, now focuses with a terrifying, laser-like clarity. The Panzer IV is closing, its commander visible in the cupola, one hand on the rim, the other holding the loudspeaker microphone. The German voice is impatient, demanding a response. "Think, Sam, think! You're a farmer, not a tanker. But you're a mechanic. You understand machines." His eyes dart across the German-labeled controls. He sees the throttle, the gear shift. He sees the radio, its lights blinking, the source of the insistent voice. He has to move, he has to talk, or he has to fight. He remembers the bodies in the main compartment, the commander's headset. Scrambling out of the driver's seat, he climbs back into the blood-soaked fighting compartment, trying to ignore the carnage. He finds the commander's leather helmet with its attached headphones and throat microphone. He puts it on. The voice is louder now, crackling directly into his ears. "Tiger 231, melden Sie sich. Was ist Ihr Status?" "Tiger 231, report. What is your status?" Sam's mouth is dry as dust. He has no idea how to respond. He fumbles for the radio switch, praying it's the same as the American sets he's seen. He presses the transmit button. He affects a guttural, strained voice, mimicking the German he's heard. "Schwer, Schaden," he grunts, then releases the button, letting static fill the void. He holds his breath. The Panzer IV commander responds, his tone shifting from demand to concern. "Verstanden, 231. Mechanische Probleme? Wir bieten Unterstützung an." "Understood, 231. Mechanical problems? We are offering support." Support? They're going to send infantry over. They're going to dismount and approach the tank. The second they look inside the open rear hatch, it's over. He has to drive, now. He lunges back into the driver's seat. He shoves the gear shift into what he hopes is first gear and slams the twin throttles forward. The Tiger lurches ahead with a deafening roar, its tracks digging deep into the frozen earth. The move is so sudden, so unexpected, that the Panzer IV halts in surprise. For a few precious seconds, Sam has bought himself distance. He crashes through the forest, branches scraping and shrieking against the armor like fingernails on a chalkboard. He can't see well through the narrow vision slit. It's like driving a house while looking through a mail slot. He's navigating by pure guesswork. Behind him, the Panzer IV recovers and gives chase, its lighter, more nimble frame allowing it to navigate the trees more easily. A flash, and a split second later, a thunderous impact rocks the Tiger. The Panzer IV has fired its 75mm gun. The shell deflects off the Tiger's massively thick side armor with a sound like a cathedral bell being struck by a giant, but the concussive force inside is staggering. Sam's head smacks against the vision slit, and he sees stars. They're shooting at him. He's in a 56-ton steel box, but he's not invincible. A lucky shot to the tracks, the engine, or the thinner rear armor could disable him, or worse, brew him up. He can't outrun it. He can't hide. There's only one option left. He has to fight back. He has to use the gun. Abandoning the driver's seat, he scrambles back into the fighting compartment. He stares at the complex array of controls for the massive 88mm KWK-36 main gun. The gunner's seat is still warm. The sight is a complex telescopic device with German crosshairs. He has no idea how to load it, how to aim it, how to fire it. Another impact. This one is closer, showering the hull with dirt and debris. The Panzer IV is finding its range. Sam's eyes fall on the loader station. The process is brutal, physical. He sees a massive 88mm shell on the rack. He heaves it, grunting with the effort. It must weigh over 30 pounds, and rams it into the open breech of the gun. He slams the breech block closed. It locks with a heavy, satisfying clunk. Okay, it's loaded. Now, how to aim? He slides into the gunner's seat. There are two hand wheels, one for traverse, one for elevation. He grips them. He peers into the sight. The world outside is magnified, the crosshairs dancing wildly with the tank's violent movement. He can see the Panzer IV, its commander still standing tall, confident he's chasing a wounded, fleeing animal. Sam's hands are shaking. He turns the traverse wheel. The entire turret groans and swings, agonizingly slowly, to the right. The Panzer IV fills his sight. He's aiming a weapon he's never used from a platform that's bouncing and crashing through a forest at a moving target that is actively trying to kill him. He has one shot. Maybe. He has no idea where the firing mechanism is. His fingers scramble over the gunner's controls, finding a pistol grip handle with a trigger. This must be it. He takes a deep breath, trying to steady the crosshairs on the center mass of the approaching Panzer IV. He exhales. His finger tightens on the trigger. The world holds its breath. The trigger gives way with a firm, mechanical click. For a heart-stopping fraction of a second, nothing happens. Then, the world ends. The inside of the Tiger erupts in a cataclysm of sound and force that is beyond anything Sam has ever experienced. A blinding, searing white flash momentarily obliterates his vision as the massive 88mm gun recoils violently backward in its housing, the breech slamming to a halt just inches from his face. The concussion is a physical hammer blow to his entire body, slamming his head against the sight and rattling his teeth in his skull. His ears are filled with a single, high-pitched whine, deafening him to all other sound. The spent, smoking brass casing is automatically ejected from the breech, clanging loudly and hot onto the metal floor, filling the compartment with the acrid, unforgettable smell of burnt cordite. He is stunned, disoriented, his senses overwhelmed. He has no idea if he hit his target. He frantically blinks, trying to clear the spots from his vision, and presses his face back to the sight. Through the swirling gun smoke now leaking into the compartment, he sees it. A direct hit. The Panzer IV is no longer a threat. It is a funeral pyre. A perfect, black-rimmed hole is punched clean through its frontal glacis plate. A jet of orange flame is already roaring from the opening. And then, with a secondary violent explosion, its own ammunition cooks off. The turret is blasted clear off its ring, spinning into the air in a grotesque slow-motion ballet before crashing down into the trees. The hull is a twisted, burning wreck. There are no survivors. Sam stares, numb, unable to process the raw, destructive power he has just unleashed. He, Samuel Thorne, a farm boy from Iowa, has just killed another tank. The reality of it is sickening, terrifying, and yet a fierce, primal surge of survival courses through him. He did it. He is alive. But the shot was a beacon. The thunderous report of the 88mm gun will have been heard for miles. Every German soldier within earshot now knows the approximate location of a Tiger tank that is, from their perspective, acting erratically and has just destroyed one of its own. He has to move, now. He stumbles back into the driver's seat, his body aching, his ears still ringing. He shoves the levers forward, and the Tiger lumbers on, deeper into the forest. He drives with a new purpose, not just away from the enemy, but towards something, the rally point. If he can just make it back to American lines, but in this, he'll be a sitting duck. American bazooka teams, anti-tank guns, even Shermans will see the distinct, deadly silhouette of a Tiger and open fire immediately. He's stolen a king, but he's wearing the enemy's crown, and it makes him a target for everyone. For hours he drives, using the sun's position through the overcast sky as a crude compass, heading west, always west. He avoids roads, sticking to dense woods and valleys. The Tiger's immense weight and power allowing him to plow through obstacles that would stop any other vehicle. He passes columns of German infantry who wave at him, thinking him one of their own. He sees a German staff car, its officers nodding in approval at the sight of the mighty Tiger. The irony is thick enough to choke on. He is a ghost, moving unseen through the heart of the enemy army. But his luck cannot hold forever. The fuel gauge, a dial he's been watching with growing dread, is dipping dangerously close to empty. The Tiger is a fuel-hungry monster, and its tanks are running dry. He can't go much further. And then, through a break in the trees, he sees it. A small, bombed-out Belgian village nestled in a valley, and on the far side of the village, a hastily established American defensive perimeter. Foxholes, sandbagged machine gun nests, and the beautiful, unmistakable shapes of a few Sherman tanks, their long 76mm guns pointed toward the east, toward him. He has made it. He is at the gates of salvation. But as he guides the shuddering, fuel-starved Tiger to the edge of the tree line, looking down at the shot-up village that stands between him and his own lines, he realizes the final and perhaps most deadly challenge still remains. How does an American soldier in a German Tiger tank convince a jumpy, battle-hardened U.S. Army perimeter not to blow him to pieces? He is about to become the most tempting target they have seen all day. The Tiger idles roughly at the woodline, its engine sputtering, a testament to its critically low fuel. Below, the shattered village of La Roche sits in silence, a ghost town of broken brick and splintered timber. But beyond it, the American lines are alive with activity. Sam can see men moving, digging, reinforcing their positions. He can see the gunners behind their .30 calibers, the crews of the Shermans resting on their turrets, smoking, their eyes scanning the horizon. They are looking east. They are looking for Germans. And he is about to drive the most feared German weapon of the war right into their laps. His mind races through the options, each one more hopeless than the last. Wave a white flag? He'd be cut down before he could even clear the hatch. Use the radio? His tank's radio is set to German frequencies. Try to drive through the village as fast as possible, hoping they recognize his non-aggressive intent? The moment this tiger silhouette emerges from the trees, every weapon in the battalion would open up. A Sherman 76mm gun might not penetrate his frontal armor at this range, but a shot to the tracks, the engine deck, or a lucky hit from a bazooka team in the ruins of the village would be the end of him. He is trapped in the ultimate paradox. His greatest prize is now his death sentence. He has to get a message to them, but how? His eyes scan the interior of the tank, falling on the body of the former commander. An idea, desperate and macabre, forms. He rummages through the dead man's pockets, finding a map case, a few personal effects, and most importantly, a signal pistol, a flare gun, and a cartridge pouch. This is it. This is his only chance. He climbs up into the commander's cupola, his heart in his throat. He slowly, very slowly, raises his hands above the rim, holding the flare gun. He is completely exposed. One nervous kid with a rifle could end him right now. He takes a deep breath, points the flare gun straight into the air, and pulls the trigger. The flare hisses as it rockets skyward, a single brilliant red star bursting against the gray afternoon sky. It is the universal signal for distress. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, all hell breaks loose, but not the hell he feared. The American line erupts, not with gunfire, but with movement and confusion. He sees men pointing, officers lifting binoculars. They have seen the flare. They have seen the tiger. And they have seen the figure in the cupola, his hands raised. He can imagine the frantic conversations. What the hell is a German tank doing a red flare? Is it a trick? A surrender? He waits, his arms raised high, every second an eternity. Then, a miracle. A single jeep, flying a large white flag of truce, bumps its way out of the American position and begins to slowly, cautiously pick its way through the rubble of La Roche towards him. It stops about 100 yards from the tiger. Two men get out, a lieutenant and a sergeant carrying a Thompson. They are wary, their weapons not quite aimed but ready. This is it, the moment of truth. Sam knows he has to show them. He has to prove he is not the enemy. He carefully, slowly climbs out of the cupola and stands fully on the back of the Tiger tank, his hands held high. He is wearing his U.S. Army issue field jacket over his uniform. The lieutenant, squinting, takes a step forward, his disbelief evident even from this distance. Sam shouts, his voice cracking with emotion and fatigue. "Don't shoot! I'm an American! Private Samuel Thorne, 28th Infantry Division. I stole it!" The words sound insane even to him. The lieutenant and the sergeant exchange a look of utter incredulity. A farm boy from Iowa standing on the back of a king tiger, claiming he hijacked it? It was the stuff of legend, of impossible barroom tales. The lieutenant slowly lowers his pistol. "You've got to be kidding me. Son, you better start talking, and it better be the best damn story I've ever heard." As Sam begins to descend from the tank, his legs weak with relief, he sees more Americans now, emerging from their positions, gathering to look at the unbelievable spectacle. They are looking at him not as a soldier, but a phantom, a myth made real. But as the initial shock wears off, a more pressing concern emerges. The sound of the Tiger's engine, now choked and dying, has been replaced by another, more ominous sound drifting from the east. The distant but unmistakable rumble of more German armor. His desperate flight has ended, but the Battle of the Bulge is far from over. And the legendary Tiger tank he just delivered, the ultimate intelligence prize, is now sitting, silent and out of fuel, right in the path of the next German attack. The relative calm shatters. The distant rumble quickly solidifies into the distinct, grinding roar of multiple panzers. The German counterattack they had been fearing was beginning, and Sam's hard-won Tiger was now the forward-most Allied position. The American lieutenant's face hardens instantly, the astonishment replaced by the grim pragmatism of a combat officer. "Sergeant, get every bazooka team we have up here, now! You, Thorne, get your ass down and get to the rear!" But Sam doesn't move. He looks at the disabled Tiger, then back at the advancing sounds of armor. An idea, even more insane than hijacking a tank in the first place, sparks in his mind. "Sir, the Tiger, it's out of gas, but the main gun is loaded. We can use it. It's the strongest pillbox you'll ever have." The lieutenant stares at him, then at the behemoth. He knows the 88mm gun is one of the few weapons that can reliably take out the heavier German tanks at range. It's a fortress, but it's a death trap. Once the Germans realize one of their own Tigers is being used against them, they will focus all their fire on it. It's a suicide post. "You know how to work that thing?" the lieutenant asks, his voice low. "I figured out the hard part, sir," Sam replies, a grim smile touching his lips. "I can figure out the rest." The lieutenant makes a split-second decision. "Do it. Manning, O'Brien, you're with him. You're loaders. The rest of you, dig in around this thing. Make every shot count." The next few minutes are a blur of frantic activity. Two burly soldiers scramble into the Tiger's hull, their eyes widening at the grim scene inside. But they quickly set to work, heaving another 88mm shell into the breach under Sam's direction. Sam takes the gunner's seat once more. This time, it's different. This time, he's not a terrified stowaway. He's part of a crew. He's defending a line. He peers through the sight. Emerging from the tree line 1,000 yards away are two Panzer IVs and the hulking, terrifying shape of a Tiger II, a King Tiger, even more heavily armored and armed than his own captured tank. The odds are impossible.